They want to be free. 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 Free. They say they want to be free, yet they're not willing to plant any seeds. So how do we expect to be free without being self-sufficiently, governmentless, living independently? They, who's they? They who want change yet still sell their dignity and freedom in exchange for business transactions and political man-made sanctions, preferring an economical, political, and judicial system, welcoming corporatocracy. They're willingly controlled by business corporations, corporate interests. Corporate interests. I call it hypocrisy. Elizabeth Warren once referenced Theodore Roosevelt, warning regarding powerful corporate entities threatening the very foundations of democracy, explaining back bailouts, excessively paying for CEOs, and the exploitations of national treasuries, people, and natural resources. Yes, I'm going to be criticizing globalization, corporatocracy, and a perverted form of aristocracy called oligarchy. Capitalism, bankers controlling the flow of currency. The wave of alchemy, with just a few to rule and command those with nobility, fame, and wealth. Feudalism is capitalism controlled by corporatocracy, owned by the oligarchy, which are the black nobility. I'm gonna say it again. I'm criticizing globalization, corporatocracy, and a perverted form of aristocracy called oligarchy, capitalism, bankers controlling the flow of currency, the wave of alchemy, with just a few to rule and command those with nobility, fame, and wealth. Because feudalism is capitalism controlled by corporatocracy, owned by the oligarchy, which are the black nobility. So tell me, I want to know, how do we expect to be free if we're not willing to plant any seeds and live self-sufficiently, providing for our own needs. Providing for our own needs. Providing for our own needs. Yay!
Welcome back. What's going on, mi gente?
Yes.
Now, we are back. We are back.
I'm excited.
Episode 3 of What in the Boriken is going on. And I'm excited for today. Today, we are going to be talking about BOMBA y PLENA. I am Def Poetry, long hair, with your beautiful host, creator, founder, Dr. Poetry. It's a pleasure to be here with you. And today we're going to be getting into the resurgence, going back to the Taino roots of BOMBA y PLENA, right? And how, it was longly stigmatized for their African roots. And in recent decades have seen a resurgence, right? Led by artists, educators, and activists. And these genres right now being taught in schools, and they're being celebrated a lot more in festivals and used to promote Afro-Puerto Rican pride, social justice, and cultural resilience, y'all. So viewers, so glad to be back with y'all. Happy Thursday, by the way. It's May 15th. Happy Thursday. We back. We got some good music. We got some good conversation to talk about, and I'm excited. Right?
I'm excited. We're in Boriken, and it's raining over here. It's been raining for a minute. Hi, viewers. Are you ready for the Puerto Rican Day Parade that's coming soon? Excuse me, correction. The Boricua Parade, okay? Yeah. So before we get to the Boricua Parade in June, it's just like what Dev said. There's a resurgence, and I think it has a lot to do. It may have somewhat to do with Mr. Bad Bunny, but we'll get to Bad Bunny in a few. What is bomba? Bomba, one of Puerto Rico's oldest musical forms. Oldest musical forms with roots in African resistance. Right? That's what he was saying. We've seen this renewed interest among young Puerto Ricans, eager to connect with the heritage. I see it in the clothing. I see it in the hairstyles. Absolutely. This revival is evident in the growing number of bomba workshops that you see, even in the Bronx, Def. You see it in New York, right? You see it in the big cities, performances and cultural centers across the island, and in the states.
Yeah.
But groups like Los Bomberos de la Calle are actively teaching bomba and plena to the youth, conducting over 50 school assemblies during Hispanic Heritage Month, which that's another story. I really
I
hate
love
that.
that. I love that.
Yeah, I like that they're doing that, but Hispanic Heritage Month puts me in that place where I'm going to go in, and I don't want to go in on that right now. But we'll get to
True,
that in
true.
October.
But I love the teaching part. I love the teaching part though.
Right, right.
Yeah.
I love that. We'll get to that in September. But back to the what we were saying, right? So this is what they're doing is that they're conducting over, what did I say, 50 school assemblies during Hispanic Heritage Month to pass on these traditions to the next generation.
Yes.
That's like the pastelery recipe. We got to pass that recipe down.
Obligado. Absolutely.
Obligado. Well, our music means everything. Similarly, Plena, often referred to as the sung newspaper, for its role in conveying news and social commentary, is experiencing a renaissance, y'all. Yes, a renaissance. New Plena bands such as Plena Libre and Viento de Agua are gaining popularity, and the genres, rhythms are increasingly present in contemporary music. Shout out to Bad Bunny. Okay?
Yep. Shout out to that.
So, yeah, because this mainstream, we have to recognize that it's becoming mainstream again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well,
the
I'd rather have that mainstream. It's so much good cultural music, and it's so much music for one that goes unheard. So the fact that it's being recognized and it's being played more and more, and people are opening up to it, and actually is having an influence on the youth,
right.
I love that.
Yes.
So that just tells me we're not, we're moving forward and not backwards in our culture.
I love that. I love it. Well, one would say that we're going backwards to move forward because we're revisiting our roots in the back to move forward, right?
Well said. Well said.
A lot of the young ones don't know a lot of this, but the resurgence of bomba and plena has also been propelled by mainstream artists integrating these genres into their work. Notably, Bad Bunny's 6th studio album, Debí Tirar Más Fotos, blends traditional Boricua genres like salsa and plena with reggaeton, bringing these folks styles to a global audience. So not only is Boriken listening to plena, but we have Spain, we have Japan, and all these different continents
straight up. Yep.
Dancing to bomba and plena.
That's the truth.
That album topped Billboard's top streaming albums chart with tracks like Baile Inolvidable, reaching #1 on the United States Apple Music chart. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. And that was what? Plena, bomba. Def, let's talk about bomba. I got something for you. I want to just kind of I want to play something that's going to help us get back to, give you a breakdown a little bit. Because when I was a little girl, I remember my mom put me in bomba classes in the Bronx. Shout out to the South Bronx Kids Incorporated, Marina Torres. I was a little girl that would put these dresses on, and I used to be like, you know what I mean? And,
yeah.
I used to be like that, And then it talked about Plena being like a newspaper. Because truly, if you listen to this, right? Listen to this. I remember this one. So, when the seasons were changing, right? Like, for instance, a hurricane's coming, la temporada de hurricane, or the sugar season. Here we go. There's a hurricane coming. We're in hurricane season. So season is temporada, right? It means temporada.
That's right.
So this is the plena. This is the news. Ready? Boom, 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 temporal, temporal. Ha llegado el temporal, temporal, temporal. Ha llegado temporal. ¿Y qué será de mi Borinquen? Ha llegado el temporal. ¿Qué será de mi Borinquen? Ha llegado el temporal. That's basically saying the season's here. What would be of our island of Boriken, right? Another one, newspaper. So this man named Martin passed away. Martin. He died. But they didn't tell me. I found out the other day. This is what they said. Se murió Martín, yo no lo sabía. Se murió Martín, yo no lo sabía. Lo vine a saber al otro día. Lo vine a saber al otro día. Come on. Now there's a woman. Her name is Elena. They cut her face, or they cut her up. I don't know what, a machete. And they took her to the hospital. Here we go. Newspaper. Cortaron a Elena. Cortaron a Elena. Cortaron a Elena y la llevaron para el hospital.
Right. Exactly.
So all of this is news. It's the song newspaper.
Yes.
And if you ever been around enough Boricuas, we sing about everything. We sing to the, if you send me to the store, me voy para el supermercado. And if Death is taking long, Death está tardando. He's taking too long and I'm about to leave him. Everything is a song.
Yep.
When we're protesting because we want, our rights. I remember I went to Vieques. I mean, I didn't go to Vieques. I was protesting for Vieques, the bombing in Vieques, the bombing practices, United States. And we were saying, Totones, chuleta, Puerto Rico se respeta.
And we will sing about anything. That's the truth. That's
everything.
The truth.
And it's plena. You get mad. Even if, even in weddings, you see it, but you also see it in funerals. You see it in funerals. You see the big speaker with the music coming through when they bring in the body. It's like mad music. It's Boriken is music. From the coqui, that's music. Everything makes a sound, and every sound is appreciated. So I definitely love this conversation we're about to have right now. And I definitely want to bring up, I want to show you guys this video. It's going to help us understand what bomba really is. Give me a second. I'll be right here. Yes. We're going to, ¿qué mucha lluvia está haciendo ahora?
Last couple of weeks, right? I mean, we are in the season. We are in the season, so
it's been raining.
Yes.
It's raining a lot. So if I start glitching, people, it's Boriken. It's not me. It's not me.
Us for sure ahead of time.
Right? Okay, here we go. Let me add this up, y'all, and let's get to it so we can get through it. I know you guys are gonna enjoy this. Hold on. Okay. I'm getting a little. Let's go.
Hi, my name is Maria.
I'm Mar.
We are here in San Juan, Puerto Rico with RESURGENCE.
And this is Bomba.
En la bomba tú haces ese ritmo y entonces todo lo demás te sigue a ti. Estamos bailando en 3 áreas que son el corazón de la bomba en el norte: San Juan, Santurce y Loíza. Es una manera de bailar bien libre. Tú haces lo que en el momento tú sientas, lo que en el momento tú te nazcan hacer. Me ha llevado a quererme, a respetarme, a valorarme. La bomba viene de África, ¿no? De nuestros ancestros los africanos.
Me siento honrada porque yo siento que yo estoy representando a mis antepasados, ¿entiendes? A mis ancestros. O sea, esa era la única forma de ellos expresarse.
instrumento, un espacio para rebeliones, ¿verdad? Sirvió antisistémica, antirracista, anti todas esas opresiones que significaba ese sistema esclavista que había en esa época. Hoy en día, pues, la música sigue siendo un espacio de libertad y sigue siendo un espacio político de transformación. A bailar.
Me acuerdo que cuando mi mamá me puso esa ropa, yo me sentí que yo era el video. Yo, ay Dios mío, me encontraba tan bonita. Wow, este es algo con lo que yo me puedo identificar, esto soy yo, esto es parte de mí. Santurce se convierte en el primer lugar de donde estaban ubicados los esclavos libertos. Loíza se vuelve en el pueblo donde mayor concentración de negros hay.
Porque no le hicieron lordito a los parilleros.
Esta cueva es una muy antigua y es uno de estos lugares a donde las personas escapadas de la esclavitud, como los cimarrones,
Bailar solo pues me gusta también, pero me da mucha más alegría cuando estoy con mi hermana. Y qué alegría, ¿verdad? También estar juntas. La influencia taína la vemos en los términos como la maraca, el cuá. La maraca, el cuá mantienen el ritmo constante, igual que los tambores. Y el primo, ese es el que improvisa. Una comunicación entre bailador y tocador.
la familia Cepeda fue una de las muchas familias que mantuvieron el baile y el legado vivo.
El primer maestro que nosotros tuvimos fue don Rafael y doña Caridad. Fueron los primeros maestros que nosotros tuvimos, que nos enseñaron a cómo era esto. Papi siempre estaba diciendo que cuando Puerto Rico comprenda el valor del folclore, luchará con mucha fuerza para defender su honor. Él siempre luchó mucho porque se reconociera esta música que era tan marginada y olvidada, porque es música de trata negra. Música negra, tú sabes, la música de abajo, de barrio.
Que antes la bomba era, se bailaba y se conocía y se tocaba nada más que en familia.
¿Dónde está mi congo, mi cie? Mi serena, congo, mi cie. ¿Dónde está mi congo?
Ahora es que ha cogido un auge bastante grande. Te lo pueden bailar en la playa, como te lo pueden bailar en una tarima, te lo pueden bailar en una casa, donde sea.
Pa' que lo bailes tú también.
Porque siento un llamado, como que esos tambores están llamando a que entre. Eso es esos ancestros que están ahí cerca, que nos mandan esas vibras. Llega alguna niña y me está mirando, ojalá y yo le logré inspirarla a que caramba, busque de sus raíces.
Yes, y'all. I believe you're muted. I remember back in the day, I ain't gonna lie, that brings me back, because back in the day, I used to dance you know, in the Puerto Rican parades with my mother. And, you know, I remember, you know, just getting down with the salsa with the whole bomba y plena. And that's bringing me back. I know I was moving right there. And that was so fun. That was so fun. I remember my early years, you know, being a part of the, and, you know, and dancing in those, you know, and being on stage, being on the big floats with that. That was so much fun. That brought me back. We definitely gotta make our way and go check that out. Louisa, Santurce,
Everything.
yeah, wow, San
I
Juan.
love it.
I love it.
I love it. I love it. I have to tell you that I agree with you. It almost makes my hair stand because it reminds me of my childhood as well.
Yeah,
Mom put us in this I want to call it was a marching band, but it was also um like a like an orchestra type thing where we were there since I was there at the age of 7 years old. I joined. I was 7, turning 8, all the way to like I was probably 16 or something like that. 17. I danced. They taught us plena. They taught us. I participated in the Puerto Rican Day Parade so many years as a child, dancing with the long dresses and the flower in my head. I did the plena. We did bomba. You know, it was wonderful. And every holiday for the Christmas holidays, we would have so much culture, and that was right in the heart of the Bronx, in the South Bronx,
yeah,
right there, Union. It was just
yeah. That
beautiful.
brought me back. Wow.
That was what we did. We danced and danced and danced. I danced and danced. Oh, and I loved it. And I still, you know, you got to have the willingness. You know, you have to have that inspiration to want to know your roots. She spoke of that. She says she hopes that whoever's watching this, or you know, that she's inspiring someone to find their roots, because it's not like your roots are lost. It's just that you're unaware of them.
That's right. That's right.
And
And
you need to.
that brings me back, and even just like getting my hands on any type of instrument, you know, the guido, you know, some drums, some congas, and just if you see it, I cannot resist. If I see you know, a set of congas or any type of instrument, I can't resist. I'm gonna get my hands on it. I'm gonna have to play it, you
Yeah.
know, and that makes me want to go play something right now. I ain't gonna lie. Like, I've definitely got to get my instruments, you know, collection up, because that's also another thing that brings you back to your roots, and connection, you know, being connected to your roots, to the island, to your ancestors,
Right.
because it talks back. You know, the nature talks back, the island talks back. To me, the island speaks to you. You know, you sit outside and you ground. I know you're aware of that. You go outside and you ground yourself. The island and your ancestors speak to you.
Right.
You know,
That's right.
and man, that's so dope. I love that video. I love that right there.
Yeah, man. I mean, we gotta love it. We have to love it. We have to be ready to not only teach ourselves, but to pass it down to everyone that that's unaware,
Yeah,
especially those in the States who they participate so much. They're constantly in the Puerto Rican Day Parade. Like, not everybody, you know, especially when you see Bad Bunny, it's like there's more to it. You know what I
right,
mean? Like,
right.
he's making folks look it up.
Yeah,
You know, he speaks Spanish. He chooses to speak Spanish all the time. He speaks his English, but he chooses to speak Spanish because he's almost letting folks know, learn the language too.
that's right.
You want to know about Puerto Rico, you want to know about Boriken, come to Boriken. So much that he's having his whole concert,
Well, I was
his
about to
whole
mention
tour
that. Yeah,
on the island.
that's right.
So now everyone's coming in to help, you know, participate, and also to help the economy. Let's talk about it. I
Yeah,
mean,
I think that's the best thing he could have done, and it's a great idea. I feel like, you know, it's giving other artists that opportunity, and that you know, initiative to go to do that as well. You know, I remember back in the day, and I know it happens often out here in the island, where a lot of the artists do perform for free. Their performances are for free, you know, and then they step out and then they do charge. I don't know if it's still the same now, but I remember growing up and being younger and going to concerts out here that would be free for the
right.
people. And I believe that's also something that he's bringing back, and supporting his people, and also, helping the economy. That's the best idea. That's so great. I was so happy when I heard that. Like, why didn't anybody do that before? Like, great.
Yeah,
Big ups to him for that.
absolutely. I want to give like a little brief on Bomba and Plena because they spoke about it briefly, right? But I want to get into it just so that we can get a bigger picture. Then I want to present this other video of a little bit much a Bomba dance. And I love this one. But Bomba and Plena, so that in case anybody's wondering, there are two foundational musical genres of Boriken, of Puerto Rico, each with distinct origins and cultural significance. Both have evolved over time, serving as powerful expressions of Afro-Boricua identity, whatever that means, right? We have so much going on with that, resistance and community. Bomba is Boriken's oldest musical tradition, dating back to the 17th century. It was developed by enslaved Africans and their descendants in coastal towns such as Loíza, Mayagüez, Ponce, and San Juan. Bomba reflects a syncretism of Boriken's diverse cultural groups, incorporating Taíno instruments. You heard her. She had the little, it was almost like a clave, like, right? And the maracas, like the maraca. And European dance forms and African musical elements. So we have the Taínos, we have the Africans, and we have the European element as well, dance forms. If you see those dresses with it's all mixed together. Traditional bomba ensembles feature instruments like the barril de bomba, which is a drum, right? Maracas, and she spoke about it. El cuá, the wooden sticks.
Mm-hmm.
The dance involves a dynamic interaction between the dancer and the lead drummer, known as the primo, who improves rhythms in response to the dancer's movements. So when you see the congueros, and you also salute them first, right? You salute them, and you start moving, right? And let's say if you move to this side, he's actually gonna bang the bongo or the drum right on there. So it's marking each dance and each position, which is beautiful. After the abolition of slavery, bomba was commercialized in the mid-20th century and incorporated into Boriken's folklore. In the 1990s, the group, like Hermanos Emanuel y Nater, revitalized the genre through public performances called bombazos, fostering communal participation. So in the plazas, the placitas, especially Santurce and Loíza, San Juan as well, you see them come out sometimes. They have like Monday bomba. You're never gonna miss it. The island is full of it, of all those dances and those moments that they wanna start putting on some instruments and playing and have people come out and dance and learn. I think it's wonderful. I think it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, I want to get into Plena real quick. So I said earlier that Plena is like a newspaper, right? It's like, read all about it, right? Because they're telling you things. That's exactly what it was called, the People's Newspaper. Plena emerged in the early 20th century in southern Puerto Rico, particularly in the city of Ponce. It developed as a form of a narrative music, conveying stories about community, events, social issues, and political commentary. But the Plena ensembles typically include panderetas, which are the ones that some people use in church, the hand drums, the panderetas, right? And the guido, you talked about the guido, right? The scrape door, and accordion. The genre is characterized by its catchy melodies and call and response singing. So someone's always ad-libbing. If I say, se murió Martín, we're going to have a chorus, making it a staple at festivals and community gatherings. All I can say is that one of the wonderful things I love about this music is that it never gets old.
Right.
It never gets old. It's almost like, what's that?
No, it doesn't get old at all. No.
It doesn't. Plena and Bomba continue to thrive. And I love that. I love that. And shout out to La Tribu de Abrante, because I remember listening to them a few years back when they first dropped that Maria Luisa Bambolea. Yeah, man. Oh, the whole album. I was playing that on the beach that whole summer. It was wonderful. And so now, ese mismo. I love it. I love it. For real, for real. You know, Def, did you ever dance Plena in Bomba? Did you dance?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Really?
That's why I said.
Okay, break a dance right there. Let me see.
No, maybe.
Come on.
Yo, for real. Like, yo, I definitely.
You look like you could pick up the hat and go like this, the way they go like that.
Right.
The hat.
I ain't gonna lie. See, even watching that first video right there, it makes me want to go out and you know, take, like I said, bring out the drums, bring out the congas and really, you know, it'll be a beautiful day. It's raining, some light rain too, like man. But yeah, I get down a little bit, you know, obviously, because like they were saying, this is an expression of your own expression. You connect with the rhythm, and it's a free form expression. So, you know, just remember, viewers, there's no right or wrong way to dance, you know, bomba. It's a natural free form expression of how the rhythm speaks through you, you know. And you know, I don't want to say if you can't dance it, you just don't got no rhythm, right? So you just got to let the rhythm speak through you. You know, and for me, yeah, I got a little bit of, you know, I got a little bit of moves here.
Let's go. Well, listen, speaking about moves, I'm gonna play an oldie but a goodie.
Let's go.
All right. Here
Right.
we go. Let me prepare this for y'all. I love this one right here. I just think it's I actually had this one in my video, one of my videos. Yeah, ready?
Oh yeah.
Dicen la negra Martina que brinca por los palacios, cayó dentro de una olla de bandazo entre las mallas. De bandazo va ella, de bandazo anda ella, de bandazo. Ay, que de bandazo, la negra Martina cayó en la malla, de bandazo. De bandazo va ella, de bandazo anda ella, de bandazo. Se pasaba todo el día buscando en palacio, a ver si alguien la quería, pero todo fue un fracaso. De bandazo va ella, de bandazo anda ella, de bandazo. Ay, de bandazo, ahí va la negra, de bandazo. De bandazo va ella, de bandazo anda ella, de bandazo. Pues toditos la recuerdan cuando retornó al palacio, cuando se cayó en la olla, en la malla paso a paso. De bandazo va ella, de bandazo anda ella, de bandazo. Oh, que de bandazo, la negra Martina cayó en la malla, de bandazo. De bandazo va ella, de bandazo anda ella, de bandazo. Me dicen los que la vieron que brincó por los palacios, cayó en la mama Martina, en la olla de bandazo. De bandazo va ella, de bandazo anda ella, de bandazo. Ay, de bandazo, ay, de bandazo que va ella, de bandazo. De bandazo va ella, de bandazo anda ella, de bandazo. Ay, de bandazo, come un pedazo en el palacio. De bandazo va ella, de bandazo anda ella, de bandazo. Oh, que de bandazo, la negra Martina cayó en la malla, de bandazo.
Huepa, huepa.
Amazing, amazing.
Que bandazo.
That's what I'm talking about,
Man,
y'all.
that got me moving. I want some more of that. I want some more of that
Listen,
right there.
I try to tell you. Whoa, you know what I love about Bomba en Plena on the island of Boriken? That just because you're a lighter hue, they won't dismiss you.
Right.
You know how in Boriken, even though there is a colorism within families, we know that. Can't beat that. But there's something about the music that it doesn't matter what color you are, you're Boricua and you're gonna dance.
Brings us all
So
together.
my mother is very, what they would call, very light hue, very light, looks like she's European. However, she could dance a bomba that has nothing to do with anything.
That's right.
At least on the island.
That's
you can
right.
go and you'll see it in San Juan, all the different hues, the beautiful bouquet of hues dancing to bomba. You know, no one's gonna get upset at you because you're dancing bomba, and they're gonna say, "Well, you can't dance bomba because you're not dark." That's not going on over here.
There's no discrimination at all.
There's no discrimination, and she said that in the video. And if
Yep.
you notice, you know, there's no such thing. This is why sometimes, if you don't know, you better ask somebody. You know what I mean? Because that's not going down. Because we have all three. The music it's a blend, and you hear it in salsa. You hear it in salsa, which is another show. That's another what in the Boriken going on here, because that's a difference. It's not so different, but it's an ingredient. We use all those ingredients in salsa. That's why it's called salsa, because it's a mixture of all of it. Right. It's a salsa. Salsa is a sauce. So it's a sauce going on there.
And they wouldn't discriminate with me anyway, because I feel like I'm like 3 tones. I don't know if you noticed, but one arm is a little darker.
Welcome to Boriken. That's what happened.
Right.
Listen, if I was to take off my shirt, I look pale here, but dark in here, and it's the sun on the island. That's what happens when we out here, right? I love it. I don't care. I love that poem. I gotta bring it out. ¿Y tu abuela dónde está? You know, you ever heard that poem? ¿Y tu abuela dónde está? That means, and your grandmother, where's she at?
Yeah.
You know what that means is that you could pretend to act like you a certain hue, but in the line of Boricuas, we come from different hues. There's no such thing as one hue.
That's right.
In fact,
that's a great piece right there, though.
Yeah, that's a pretty. It's a classic. You know, it's a classic. Where your grandmother's at? ¿Y tu abuela dónde está? I might just bring that up. I did that. I think I played that over Hear Me Out Poetry at one time.
I believe
yeah,
so.
we got to do that. I believe so. Yeah, I did so.
Hey, shout out to Jimmy Fallon. Shout out to Jimmy Fallon as well, because he shows so much support and love to the culture of Boriken. And also they had a paranda también in San Juan. They actually he did a whole video with Bad Bunny going through all of San Juan doing the same thing, and shout out to that.
Yeah.
I love Jimmy Fallon for that, man. Shout out to that.
Yeah. And what I enjoy watching is that every time Bad Bunny does this, he brings a group from Boriken. He brings them, and he is so invested in making sure that Boriken is represented in everything that he does. He gives them opportunities as well. And he's really doing the work trying to help the island, even the economy. So I definitely have to salute him. And I'll never forget when I was in New York during the pandemic, I was out there and I was isolated. I was alone. I couldn't really go nowhere. I was stuck in my home. And he came through. He surprised everyone in a big carroza, this float. It was like a train. And he was on there. He went through the Bronx to visit all the first responders hospitals and just gave everyone all the superstars were hiding in their own. This is the guy that came out and did what he did. You know, there was like a 7 o'clock that they would always bang, and every, I was like, wow, because I'm gonna be honest with when Bad Bunny first came out, I was like, what the hell is that? You know, I had the guys in the patrol car listening to Bad Bunny. I'm like, guys, because I love reggaeton and everything, but there were certain things I was like, what? But then I started listening a little bit, and I'm like, he's talking to the youth.
Mm-hmm.
He's talking to them in the way they talk.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that he's the guy used to work in a supermarket. He's humble. He comes from family. He's not. So
Right.
I paid attention, and I have to say, I don't care about what they say about the guy thinks he's gay. I don't care about all that. I see what you do with what you have, and I love that. I love his humility, his humbleness, modesty, and so yeah, he has a big. My sisters and my family loves this. I mean, they're traveling over here to watch him. Okay, they're coming. They've done so already. They've been practically to all his concerts. So, with that being said, I'm definitely going to show you guys now the wonderful, the videos. It's like a short film. Debí tirar más fotos, and it does talk. It gives us a glimpse of what it would look like in the future on the island.
Right.
I believe the person.
Not,
yeah. What's that?
I said I hope not, but it is. I hope it don't get to that. But
wishful
it is a
thinking.
depiction.
Wishful thinking. It's happening. We can't pretend that it won't.
Right. Yeah. I can't pretend at all.
Yeah, we can't. And in fact, I believe the person that's, I think it's Bad Bunny in the future. I think this is Bad Bunny in the future, if I'm not wrong. I don't know. Pay attention to the video. You tell me if you think it's Bad Bunny in the future. But I think it's wonderful. He does a great job.
Gentleman's name. I forget the older gentleman's name, and I have to look it up.
I think that's weird there. Let's see.
Check it out, y'all.
Que muchas cosas he vivido. Conocí mucha gente buena. Fui a muchos países, a casi todas partes del mundo, pero ninguna como Puerto Rico, o como lo que era antes. Aquí había algo, no sé qué, una magia increíble. Y todavía la hay. Todavía la hay. Quisiera haber tirado más fotos para enseñarte. Las fotos son momentos vividos, recuerdos de cosas que pasaron. Yo no era de estar tirando fotos por ahí, ni estar subiendo stories, ni nada de eso. Yo decía que era mejor vivir el momento. Pero cuando llegas a esta edad, recordar no es tan fácil. Debí tirar más fotos, haber vivido más. Debí haber amado más cuando pude. Mientras uno está vivo, uno debe amar lo más que pueda.
Por eso es que yo lo amo mucho a usted.
Y yo también a ti, Concho. Yo también a ti. Mira, esta es mi foto favorita.
¡Wow! Esa foto me gusta mucho. Ahora esa también es mi favorita.
Okay. Han pasado muchos años, pero recuerdo este día como si hubiera sido ayer.
Acho, a mí como que se me ha metido un hambre. ¿A usted no?
Pues mira qué casualidad. A mí también. Ay. Voy a ir a la panadería a comprar algo. ¿Qué quieres que te traiga?
Lo mismo de siempre.
Into the abyss of dreams, where nothing's ever truly what it seems. Monsters and angels caught in tangled seams. Reality fractures at the midnight screams.
Like a girl was in it. Knock it off. Hurry up.
Oh, really? Just like close by. Okay, so we can just drive there or walk there.
Wait.
Can I get a Cuban sandwich? Awesome. Thank you so much.
Buenos dias. Welcome to the Flamboyant Panaderia. Can I take your order?
Muy buenas. Una tripleta.
Sorry, we are all out of tripletas.
Well, pastrami.
Yeah, we have pastrami.
Okay, pastrami, eggs and cheese.
Criollo bread, sobao bread, Mallorca bread, or sweet medianoche bread.
Criollo bread.
Whole wheat Criollo or normal Criollo?
Normal.
American cheese, right?
No, I prefer Papa cheese.
Papa, like father?
No, not like father. Like Papa cheese.
Hey, I know what he wants. It's okay. Tirame uno de papa.
Thank you.
Oh,
Okay, anything else?
no, that's all. Perdón, no, se me olvidó algo. Sorry. I also want a quesito. It's for a friend of mine, my friend Concho.
Regular quesito, bacon quesito, or guava quesito. We also have vegan quesitos. Let me just check to see if we still have some. Cheeseless quesitos are all gone. We sell them fast, sorry.
I want a traditional quesito.
You mean regular, right?
Yes, regular.
Okay, your total is $30.
$30. Pues, okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, we don't take cash.
I was here a couple of weeks ago and I paid with cash.
We just implemented the new system this last Monday. It's corporate policy to offer our clients a cashless environment. But you can pay with your phone.
Okay. Can I pay you later?
I am sorry, mister, but I cannot prepare your food until the order is paid in full.
But please, I knew the original owner.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I understand.
Tranquilo, Don. ¿Seguimos aquí?
Sí, seguimos aquí. Y gracias.
No. Gracias a usted.
Joven, tu dinero.
Se apure, señor. Chavos son suyos. Son 30 pesos.
Gracias.
You're all set.
Oye, yo no sabía que había quesito sin queso.
¿Cómo es eso?
Yo digo que si le van a sacar el queso, pues deberían ponerles otro nombre desde ya. ¿Escuchaste eso?
¿Escuchar qué?
Esa música.
Yo no oigo nada.
Cabrón, escucha eso, escucha.
Eso suena bien duro.
Mira eso. Tremendo. Por aquí no pasaba un carro así con música hace, chacho, yo no sé cuánto tiempo.
Yo creo que yo nunca había visto uno.
No, si te digo, ya eso casi ni se ve. Yo me emociono cuando pasa uno. Extraño mucho escuchar la muchachería, las motoritas, el sonido del barrio.
Bueno, y si eso ya no lo hace nadie, ¿por qué no lo hace usted?
¿Hacer qué?
Dar vueltas por ahí con el músico prendido.
Me diste follow y te di follow back. Me diste like y yo te he ido para atrás. Toma, al otro día me pusiste en el profile. Eso es lo que tú quieres más.
Muchacho, deja eso.
Bueno, pues entonces vamos a seguir viendo más fotos.
Ya te dije que no tengo tantas. Yo te voy a enseñar las que tengo. Y voy a tratar de recordar las que no tiré. ¿Ok?
Yo pienso que debemos tirar una foto de hoy.
Pues claro, la tiramos.
Oh, man. Eso me hace, salir la lágrima, the tears, because,
Yeah.
I come from, my family is very traditional, and a lot of that, like I see it. Thankfully, I still see a lot of it every day, but I do see the gentrification as well. And, that just touches my heart, man. Like, that touches my heart. And also just, laughing as well. I'm laughing just at it's not humor, but it's,
Right.
but he's like, he's telling the truth. And it's a shame him being in there. And, all his life, he's probably went to that same panaderia, and ordered, and he's seen how so much stuff has changed. And that's our one thing in the island. We have so much respect for our elders, and it almost made me cry when I saw him. He couldn't pay for that, and then the gentleman got up and that right there really touched my heart, because chivalry is not dead, and it still does exist, and I just hope it doesn't fade away, and that depiction right there keeps it alive.
That's right.
And I appreciate that from that artistry. Jacob Morales, right? That was
Jacobo Morales.
Jacobo Morales. He did, that really touched, man. I'm glad the camera didn't pop up and I'm over here bawling, because I'll try to pick myself up, get myself together.
It was so sad, right? It's
It
so
is.
sad. It's so sad. You know, I like to think that I think that was supposed to be Bad Bunny in the future.
Me dio risa. Me dio risa. It made me laugh when he was like, "Can you believe they got quesitos over there with no cheese?"
Right. Right.
For all that, you might as well
Right.
call it something else. Like,
A veggie quesito. Like what?
but
What are
just
you
him
talking about?
preparing
Yeah.
his coffee and the tranquility, but also the ambiance of the noise.
Mhm.
Something that
The
he
music
right.
changed. He was giving rock music.
And you know what? That's funny. That's so crazy. I was walking the other day, and I walked by a house, and I heard the same exact thing. And it to me, I was like, I've never heard that before. You know, and it was just some
I mean, yeah. I mean, I know that sometimes I play music. I play a lot of
of
English
course.
music here. But they also see me as, you know, like La Gringa and stuff. But they don't know that I grew up very, you know, very Latino, very Puerto Rican, because my mother's Puerto Rican, Boricua. And I could see if somebody drives by here and starts hearing some, you know, some English music, especially the classics, right? They'd just be like, "Who the hell lives there?" I mean, they listen to English music here in Boriken, but it's
Yeah, absolutely.
and rock music and stuff they do. Is just when you know that it's not a native listening to it, but someone that
You
moved
nailed it.
over.
That's exactly
That's
what it
it.
is.
You can
And
tell
when
that
I
it's
heard it,
them.
it wasn't native, but yes, the depiction is like, you know, they had the American family out front barbecuing, and that
Right.
depicted the
Nobody
lack of
barbecues here.
the lack of, you know, there's a part of the culture out here is uno saluda a todo mundo. You greet everyone. You greet everyone with their blessings. You bless everyone, and what that showed right there was just the lack of knowledge of the culture. You know, like
Right.
they looked at that old man and you know, that's all it was. Who's this old man? Look at this old man walking by. There's no help. There's no blessings, and you know, he's walking in a new. Everything's brand new. Everything's different. You know, the people aren't the same. They're not greeting him. This, you know, and he's feeling out of place in his own home. And man, that was deep. That was deep.
That sure was. It was very deep. I can't even imagine anyone that's older watching this and saying they can resonate, because I'm sure they resonated, because what you see now are Airbnbs.
That's true.
So the Airbnbs are, it's happening. The music you're listening to is probably coming from someone who's having it as an Airbnb. And these people who visit the island, you know, the tourists, anyone that's not from Borinquen, when they visit the island, a lot of them love the island and they come back and buy.
Yeah.
And so it becomes like a, you know, revolving door. And the elderly who are used to a certain way of living, it happens right now. I work in an area where it's very turística, very tourist. There's a lot of tourism in the tourist area. And I get calls from the natives. And I say natives, like people that were born and raised here and own property here, complaining about what's going on with those that are renting an Airbnb or bought a house here. And there's clashes of culture clash. And I have to be mindful that everyone has a right to come and live here. Yet you cannot, you have to have some type of empathy and compassion for those that are used to a certain way. They've been living here for, I'm not saying that person, because you know it's a double-edged sword. You know, it's
Well,
tricky.
I mean, you know, you got to be willing to learn the culture. If I move to, you know, another country, I got to be open and willing to understand and learn and adapt to a different culture. You know,
Right.
it's not all about me. I can't move to a different country and change the rules so it fits me. That
Right.
sense of entitlement, because coming from, let's say, America, where I'm accessible to this and that, and I have different liberties and freedoms. You know, you got to be willing and open minded to learn different cultures, not only the language, but the laws, but how everything
Right.
works. You can't expect to go somewhere and change how everything works, and then complain if it don't work out to your fitting, liking.
I agree with you.
That's where, to me, it's there will be a clash, because you can't you can't have that sense of entitlement. You have to adapt. This is yeah, it's beautiful. Yes, you might have set up, you bought property, you might want to establish your family, whatever it is, but you got to embrace the culture. You have to embrace the language. That's where you will get your respect from the locals. Anywhere you go, that's where the
Yeah.
locals will embrace you and open their arms, for you. And I mean, I think that's it. That's rice and beans right there. That's how it is.
Yeah. That's
O
what's
como
sad
se dice,
about it.
habichuela.
And arroyo habichuela, but it's sad. It's sad to hear. And a lot of people are aware what happened in Hawaii, similar. That is a reason why there's so much controversy over there. We talked about this last week when we discussed the 3 political parties, and one of the things that I try to do is I try to understand where everyone's coming from and try to figure this out on my own without marrying every idea. I know one thing. I love Boriken. And one of the things that the woman that was dancing in the first video, she was dancing the bomba. She stated that she feels so close to her ancestors. She feels like they're next to her when she's dancing. She's doing something. She's remembering them by dancing.
I love that.
I love that too. I think that's where I'm at with it. I'm honoring my ancestors when I'm out here. I came back to this island. I said I wanted to live here. I could have lived in New York. I could have been in the New York Police Department. I could have done a lot of things out there, which I did, but I chose to stay here and serve the island. And I'm here now. And I don't want to go back sometimes because I feel like this is where I'm supposed to be. And I've been saying that since I was a child. So I feel like I'm honored to be able to embrace the culture that my ancestors and everything they've been through. My mother's home, my dad's home, where they come from, where their great grandparents came from, where their ancestors, the ancestors of the ancestors. I'm glad I'm here. So yeah, I feel very attached to the island, and I think a lot of us do that.
I'm glad you said that. Yeah. I'm glad you said that. I was just speaking to an older gentleman yesterday, actually. He's part of the community. He reaches out. It's a big community where I'm at. And, I was speaking with him yesterday, and he was like, "Man, you just recently came out here, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's been about a week." And what he told me was, "You were supposed to come back here. You were supposed to come back. And it's right on time." He opened his arms. He opened his arms out, and he connected me with the leaders of the community, right? But just his words of affirmation, I was like, "Lo agradezco muchísimo," because he didn't hesitate to tell me, and he knew, looking in my eyes, he said, "You're supposed to be here right now."
Who told you that?
And that's based off, going off of what was that?
Where was he from?
He's part of the organization within the community. Part of the urbanización.
Oh.
And they were going around speaking with all the neighbors. They were going around speaking with the community. And what they do is they give, they make sure everybody's prepared for storms, make sure everybody, if you need anything, make sure everybody's all right. The community, they check, see if, you have a 72-hour pack in case of emergencies. They open their arms out. They help neighbors out if they're in need of looking for any resources. and you know, they are basically the elders in the community. And you know, even having that conversation and meeting this older gentleman was right on time. You know, but the fact that he told me and gave me those affirmative words, it was right on time as well. You know, so it was dope. It was dope.
You know, I have something else I wanted to show. I see something else here. But before we do that, let's take a quick commercial. A beautiful commercial break. Because you know what's coming through, right? The Puerto Rican Day Parade. Taína, Africana, Española, somos moras, forevermore. ¿Qué será de mi Boriken? On Fifth Avenue, in New York City, 12 noon in the month of June. On the streets of New York, it transforms into Boriken. Everyone's Boricua, and we all proudly parade. Taína, Africana, Española, Mora, Boricua. Our heritage is displayed, dancing and singing with our ancestors. Grace, elegance. I'm craving more congas and bongos. I want to shake. The Atlantic Ocean where the sand and the skies blend. The food is so delicious. The flavorful aromas. Boricuas are brave souls on the island of Boriken. And it runs deep. These roots run deep. We are Moors. Have you ever had some arroz moro? Have you ever walked through the morro? Amor, hay que vivir con alegría. Y la moraleja detrás de la bandera borinqueña. Típico como el coqui, como la yuca, la caña y el maíz. You see, the blood is mixed, whatever that means. But we know that there's beauty in this beautiful, beautiful mixture. It's what makes us great. It's the real reason why we wave our flags with pride. You know, we were denied the ability to wave that flag. It was illegal at one point. So we wave it every time we want to. So we're celebrating this bouquet of hues. This beautiful bouquet of hues. We're urban country islands. Que viva Vieques, que viva Culebra. Las playas, pero qué linda, 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 qué bella. 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 Típico como el coqui, como la yuca, la caña y el maví. Típico como el coqui, como la yuca, la caña y el maví. You know, we summon our ancestors every other day, probably. ¿Y tu abuela dónde está? But this is what makes a flavorful crowd. Where's your grandmother at? And I just remember listening to the whispers of my ancestors. Escucho una voz que me dice, somos tus ancestros, bisabuelas de las bisabuelas, pues yo soy taína, yo soy africana, yo soy española, soy una mora, boricua, pero qué bonita, bonita bandera, de mi isla bonita, pero qué linda, la estrella del Caribe, pero qué linda, 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 qué bella. Pero qué linda, 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 qué bella. The white sandy beaches of flamenco. De ahí vengo yo, de ahí vengo yo. Pero qué linda, 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 qué bella.
¿Qué será de mi borinquen?
Típico como el coqui, como la yuca, la caña y el mavi.
¿Qué
Típico como el
será de mi
coqui,
borinquen?
como la yuca, la caña y el mavi.
¿Qué será de mi borinquen?
Somos boricuas, para que tú lo sepas. And I'm Dr. Poetry.
Eso.
Ese era de mi borinquen, como la yuca, la caña y el mavi.
Eso.
I'm getting
Mira.
ready. I know we getting ready for the Boricua parade. I know
Yes, we are.
And we're gonna
And
have
we
a special as well.
I can't wait. I can't wait. I think we should perform too. We should be like,
Are you dancing bomba? Are you dancing bomba?
don't play with me. Don't threaten me with a good time. I'll be right here like, it's that me. Bomba. No.
I think we're gonna have to. I'm gonna see if I get my I'm gonna see if I get a special guest appearance. See if I get my pops up here to
Oh
sing
man,
in a
that'd be
couple
great.
songs.
That'd be awesome. That would be, forget about it.
That man right there love to sing, so he got some sad songs to sing too. He be feeling.
Oh no, we don't want no sadness. Not on that. We don't want no. No, I don't want no boleros over there. You know, because if that's the thing, and then I'm gonna bring out the La Lupe.
Right. Nah.
Dicen que yo soy la mala. All right, yeah.
Man.
All right, so listen. I want to show you something. This is interesting. How people are purchasing things in Boriken, right? And I want you to see this. And I want us to look at this. All right? Let's look at this. Let's look at this. It is. You ready? Let's go.
Let's go.
How's it going, everybody? Yeah, it's been a long time coming. I know I don't update too much, but I actually wanted to talk a little bit about where we are. And we're actually in Arecibo. This is our house here. We decided to start moving farther, closer to the west side of Puerto Rico, and we landed here in a 5-acre farm. As you guys can see, we are surrounded by nature. Tranquility, really jumping back to our times in Florida. What we were looking for was just tranquility and peace, and this is what we have here in this house. It's a very small house. It's very quaint. Here is just like the living room and the dining room. It helps us kind of stay focused and kind of be like tight knit as a family. Very small, kind of area, but it's beautiful. We get to spend time here. We cook our dinners together. We have a little area here for our laundry. Even though we moved to Puerto Rico, we wanted to make sure we still had our creature comforts. Obviously, like here in Puerto Rico, you're so used to, tender la ropa or hang them out outside and everything. But, it's the certain things that you kind of get used to. After a long day's work, sometimes you just want to take a hot shower. So, we made sure that we got a nice little shower area, and, we did some pretty good tile job with our crew that's been with us since the beginning, since Trujillo Alto. We never have decided to venture away because they're great. They do everything with good quality. So, our kids, we actually, you guys don't know, but our family is actually growing. So for now, this will do, but eventually we're gonna need a bigger place. So, but right now the kids bunk together here. This is their room. And they get to play together. They get to be together. Honestly, it motivates us more to be outside. So we're outside a lot. We hang out on the trampoline. This is our bedroom. My wife is actually out right now. She's getting some food. The reality is that, we love this place. We love this house. But really, this is what we do here. This is our lifestyle. We come out. We hang out here. I mean, I know you guys can't appreciate it, but there's so much breeze and just, you know, it's just an awesome atmosphere. Ever since coming to Puerto Rico from Florida, I remember I used to watch YouTube videos of like people doing permaculture and, you know, just deciding to sell it all and go out into some unknown place and just decide to become self-sustainable. And the reality is that we started little by little sculpting that here. We got the solar panels. We ended up trying our hand in planted a couple of trees, some yucca. We had a lemon tree as well. You know, just that self-sustainability was just calling to us so much all the way from Florida, and that really just kind of propelled us to come here. And it's so crazy to think that fast forward, we're here now.
Hi. So we purchased a property in Arecibo, and look at my hair. Feel the wind blowing. I'll show you guys. Look at that view. It's just amazing. But we are going to be putting in the floors today. So this is the flooring we're going to be putting here. I already have the padding in the back, so you can see it better from the different lighting. So it's going to look really nice. Be able to put it against the wall. We have a lot of stuff to do. This is a small house, 600 square feet, but we are loving it. We're loving it. We're going to be here temporarily until we're able to build the house that we would like. That's the goal, and that's our vision. That's what we're working towards. But this is the house. Let me show you guys. So front door, you walk in. Right now they have these interesting old looking tiles. So basically, you walk in. This is outdoors. Look at that. Our view in the front. Just love it. And then this is, well, it's 5 acres of land, but this is one of the rooms. Not much to it. I'm trying to put it regular. I'm super stoked. This is a bathroom vanity. And that's the mirror, so I'm excited. It's gonna look beautiful. I just wanted to do this little video because I feel like we haven't done any updates of any sort. So just here enjoying.
Self-sustainability, right? I think that's really, you're on mute. You're on mute, Izzy.
That's what I'm talking about. You see that? Did you see that? 5 acres. They were not concerned about the size of the house.
Right.
The house is small. They're like, we got all this land.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And
they're not the only ones.
No.
And I love ones doing that. They're coming in.
I love they're taking full advantage of that. That's something that I'm really big on, self-sustainability, and really, eating off of it, being able to eat off of your land, and growing and it's nothing better than that. It's nothing better than growing food off of your land and being able to, feed your family and stay healthy as well, and get accustomed to eating, natural organic food. And shout out to them, that family, that couple right there, for taking that leap of faith and also working hard to create that, and not only create that, but teach their children that moving forward. So that I really enjoyed that. That was nice.
I think so. I think it was beautiful to see how they admire and love the land and how free they feel. You could tell, you could see it in their faces. It's beautiful.
Saw her
I
move
don't-
out to look out the front door and was like, look at that view. And a lot of people might be like, look at what? But that's right there. They were embracing that and really appreciating that. You know, that's a beautiful thing. I love that.
I like that too. I like that too. Well, I just want to give us a little quick of what we've been talking about. Bomba and plena are more than musical genres in Boriken. They are vibrant expressions of the island's Afro-Caribbean heritage, encapsulating centuries of resilience, community, and cultural identity. These traditions continue to thrive, serving as both artistic expressions and forms of social commentary. Well, we also looked at the gentrification stuff that may be happening, right? In parallel, the landscape of land ownership in Boriken is undergoing significant changes. Tax incentives like Act 60 have attracted a wave of mainland United States investors, leading to increased property values and development. And while these investments can stimulate economic growth, they also raise concerns about gentrification and the displacement of local communities. We've seen the Bad Bunny video, and there's a reason why he's doing those videos. There's a reason why he's talking about it, right? For instance, the influx of wealthy Americans has been linked to rising housing costs, making it challenging for many Boricuas to afford homes in their own neighborhoods. You just saw that land, beautiful, because they're coming from the outside and buying.
Mm-hmm.
And it's becoming challenging for those that live here to purchase their own homes, right? So I would just like to just sum that up and bring it all to a closing. Bomba and plena. I think they will always continue to echo the voices of Boricuas, past and present. They also underscore the importance of ensuring that growth and investment honor and sustain the island's rich cultural tapestry. We know that all that we do to preserve, right, our culture, it's more than music, dance, and song. It's about cultivating your own way. You know, I feel like we have not embraced the idea of reclaiming the reins of our own minds when it comes to living in Puerto Rico, living in Boriken. And I truly feel that we have to invest in here, because if we don't, eventually this will not look like the island of Boriken. This will look like the island of all the different countries that are coming here to live. And we lose. So we have to invest in ourselves. You know, it's time to wake up. And I really, really encourage everyone to do so. Any thoughts, final thoughts, Zaf?
Well, I mean, this is an interesting. I love the topic for today. I hope I hope everybody enjoyed the visuals. I hope you guys enjoyed the educational aspect of it, and also got a chance to learn something as far as Bomba y Plena and the history and the traditional roots and the impact that it has on this island. Personally, I hope that it's something that we continue to educate and pass on to the youth, to the younger generations. And I don't believe it'll die. I don't believe it'll die out, but it is up to us, the older generations, to pass it down and to keep it alive as well. So, with that.
Well, it's interesting that you say that. You said what, that you don't believe it would die. You know what's interesting? I don't know where I heard it today. I heard today. Who was saying it? Do not know where I saw this at. I think it was one of those TikTok videos. Someone was complaining that the children nowadays are not asking for the bendición. Something as simple. When you see a father, you say bendición, right?
Yeah, I sure
You do, right?
Still to this day. Till this day, I still do. Yeah.
Right. Do your children?
Absolutely. So this day I'm still saying
Do the children do that? The children do that? Like your children? Does anybody say bendición?
Honestly, where I'm at,
let's keep it real though.
Honestly, I do, and I don't get that as much out in the States, right? So it catches me by surprise being out here and seeing the kids, and they, you know, they're greeting me and they're like bendición, you know. So I gotta remember, like, oh snap, you know, Dios te bendiga, you know. So I see it a little bit more, but I can also see where the influences, you know, these kids and the newer generations, they have a lot more time. They have less time outside, less, you know, they're doing a lot more that's taking them away from that. So I hope I believe
I think the parents have the responsibility.
Absolutely.
I don't think that's the children or nothing. You better ask for the bendición. You know how bad that was that you walked into a house and you didn't say bendición?
Right.
You know how angry, I mean, that comes from the parents.
Absolutely, I agree. Yep.
Like, what,
yeah,
you know, and even I was born and raised in New York. I was born and raised in New York, and I learned bendición. I wasn't born and raised in Puerto Rico.
Right.
I had to say bendición. My mother made that clear.
That's right.
Pídele la bendición. And I'm like, bendición. Didn't even speak Spanish like that, but I was like, bendición. You know what I mean? Dios te favore que te acompañe. Vaya con Dios. So now when I see these, like the new generation, the 15-year-olds, they don't be like bendición.
No,
I don't see that. And you know what's going to end up what's going to stop too? Buen provecho. I don't even hear as many young kids. So what's happening? That is going to be next week's topic.
Yeah,
what is going on?
One thing I could say to that, just to touch on that real quick, you know, as the parents and us as well, you know, lead by example. You know,
that's right.
That's one thing that not only do I greet everyone that I pass, but that's keeping that alive as well. If I walk into an establishment, if I walk by somebody and they're taking a bite of something, buen provecho, you know, and whether they're shocked or not, we keeping that alive. We lead them by example. So stay tuned next week because we're gonna get in more in depth with that.
We're gonna get into that.
You know,
are they still clapping when they land in Puerto Rico?
What was that?
Are we still clapping when we landed on the island?
Yep, sure are.
Are we still clapping?
Yep, that's right.
Because when I flew in the last time, I didn't hear nobody clap. I was upset.
No,
I usually be like to see if somebody does it, but not everybody's too cool. Not everybody's too cool.
Right.
No,
everybody was clapping when I got back.
That's a good flight.
That's for real.
I mean, I've been on flights to see, you know, that they've done that, but the flight that when I came back from New York, they didn't clap. You sure they clapped? You said you fell asleep.
I heard them clap. I woke up when they clapped, but I do fall asleep. But
man, that's crazy. This has been great, y'all. Like we have to check this out. Next week we'll be here. We're gonna find out, and we're getting ready for the Boricua Parade in New York. Y'all already know we're gonna have an excellent show in June, and we're gonna be jamming. And I can't wait, y'all. I can't wait.
Ay, bendito, no me echaron queso en mi quesito. Ay, bendito, no me echaron queso en mi quesito.
Imagine that. Listen, no more bomba. We got to come up with a bomba too before we go, right? Bomba.
Right.
Se acabó el show y mañana venimos porque tenemos el flow. Bomba.
They want to be free. 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 Free. They say they want to be free, yet they're not willing to plant any seeds. So how do we expect to be free without being self-sufficiently, governmentless, living independently? They, who's they? They who want change yet still sell their dignity and freedom in exchange for business transactions and political man-made sanctions, preferring an economical, political, and judicial system, welcoming corporatocracy. They're willingly controlled by business corporations, corporate interests. Corporate interests. I call it hypocrisy. Elizabeth Warren once referenced Theodore Roosevelt, warning regarding powerful corporate entities. threatening the very foundations of democracy, explaining back bailouts excessively paying for CEOs, and the exploitations of national treasuries, people, and natural resources. Yes, I'm gonna be criticizing globalization, corptocracy, and a perverted form of aristocracy called oligarchy. Capitalism, bankers controlling the flow of currency, the wave of alchemy, with just a few to rule and command those with nobility, fame, and wealth. Feudalism is capitalism controlled by corptocracy, owned by the oligarchy, which are the black nobility. I'ma say it again. I'm criticizing globalization, corptocracy, and a perverted form of aristocracy called oligarchy, capitalism, bankers controlling the flow of currency, the wave of alchemy, with just a few to rule and command those with nobility, fame, and wealth. Because feudalism is capitalism controlled by corptocracy, owned by the oligarchy, which are the black nobility. So tell me, I want to know, how do we expect to be free if we're not willing to plant any seeds and live self-sufficiently, providing for our own needs, providing for our own needs,